All right, so we're with Aamir right now. Aamir is saying he's been my coaching client for almost a year now, and he's lost 26 to 27 pounds at this point. He's done really well, but I want you all to hear from him. So, Aamir, thanks for being on this call. Um, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, just like what you do on a day-to-day basis?
So yeah, thanks. I'm glad to be here. My name is Aamir. I am a dermatologist. I started working with Farhan back in my last year of residency, and I had noticed that due to stress and just kind of bad eating habits, I had gained a lot of weight since COVID and like the pandemic started. So my goal was to kind of reduce that, and then also just get more energy. And especially as I transition into like a senior doctor role, I wanted to present like a good role model for my patients.
Hmm. That's amazing. So, I mean, you wanted that confidence that comes from like really keeping yourself in shape and being able to communicate that not only to a patient but just like anyone you might meet. Um, so talk to us a little bit about where you were in terms of like what you were doing on your own before you started working together.
So I was motivated for a long time to get in shape, but I just did not have the great understanding of what resources available. So I started by going to Orange Theory, which is like group cardio. That was just like very, very brutal. So it was like 60 minutes of like high intensity interval training, like 3 times a week. And I would just feel absolutely destroyed afterwards. So I don't think I made a ton of progress. I mean, it probably helped my activity, but it didn't really help too much. And then I realized that my diet was probably not great, but I just heard so much conflicting advice. And even in the medical textbooks, they'll kind of use the standard kind of government recommendations on what to eat. And I know that most of those are either outdated or they're sometimes paid for by the companies that, like for example, the farming groups that sponsor certain things. So I knew that that data wasn't very helpful, but there wasn't great fitness advice out there. So part of the reason I ended up signing up for personal training was first, I just wanted more kind of targeted personal advice. And secondly, I was like going into Ramadan, so I knew that my diet was going to be totally out of whack for the next month. So I just wanted like a more personalized approach.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I think that's when you try a lot of things on your own, it's like a case of trial and error. You're just like trying to figure out, okay, is this going to work? But it's not until you have something that is catered to you that you're just like, yeah, and you can reliably see progress without that you actually start seeing a path forward with your own health. Um, so the next question I want to ask is, when you signed up, what were some things that stood out to you in terms of like the coaching or anything that I was doing particularly that really helped you reach your, start working towards your goals?
Yeah, I think the best aspect was that this is supposed to be a sustainable thing that you can continue indefinitely. And it's very much working within your constraints, your lifestyle. I did talk to a few other personal trainers, and I felt like I needed to put my life completely on hold, like stop work less, work out like 3 4 hours daily or more, and then completely alter your diet to the fact that you don't even like the food that you're eating. So I didn't think I could commit to something like that, especially like with a busy clinic schedule and working so much. So one thing I liked about this program was that it was very reasonable. It's like 3 or 4 workouts a week, kind of reasonable step counts, and then the diet is basically modified to things that you either like to eat or things that you're already doing, just like adjusted slightly. And so that was an approach that worked, and I think that's why I've been able to sustain it.
Yeah, I that was the entire focus. I didn't want you to totally upend your life just to lose like 20 pounds or 30 pounds. The sustainable approach is what it's going to keep you going. So that was my entire focus. And, you being a physician, you having like busy hours, more than usual, that was one of the things that I definitely wanted to make tailored to your schedule and just make sure that you were still able to see progress because physicians, they shouldn't be excluded from being able to be in great shape, regardless of the constraints they have on their time and just their schedule. Um, and you've been able to do that very well. So I mentioned your results a little bit, but I want to hear from your words and, the audience will want to hear this as well. What are some of the tangible, maybe not so tangible results you've achieved so far?
Sure. I mean, so first of all, the just the daily progress photos, it's a pretty drastic transformation. Within the first like couple months, I definitely felt that clothes were fitting better. I got married about 3 years ago, and I tried clothes that I had not worn since then, and I was finally able to actually fit into them. So that was kind of a really key thing that I was like, this actually did contribute to improvement. And then as a little bit more time goes on, then I started to get comments from people being like, "Oh, did you change your skin regimen? Did you change your haircut or like something?" It was like, "Oh, you just look like you're in better shape." So that was a very noticeable. Like I multiple people saying it. Like my doctor said it when I went for my primary care checkup. So that was a definitely something that I noticed. And then just I felt like more energetic. I mean, part of it it's like with residency ending, I had more time, but I just had a lot more discipline in terms of what I was eating. I wasn't just like eating tons of junk food. I realized that like those foods are designed to make you addicted. So once you stop eating them or at least reduce it, you basically don't crave it as much. So I have like a couple things I really like to eat occasionally, but I've been able to restrict it to like, a reasonable amount. And that's how a regular diet should be. So those are like kind of the main things I've noticed. And then now it's like even as time has gone on, I keep getting like more and more comments. And people haven't seen me in a year, so I look like a different person.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, like the progress photos, like I've told you this multiple times, like you want to use them as motivation, assuming you're doing everything right, because you'll look back 3, 4 months, you're like, I look totally different. And it's not just like something that it's not a trick of the mind. That's one of the things that I put in there intentionally. It might seem like a drag, like, okay, I have to take a progress photo every single day, but there's a psychological component to it where you do it every single day with the expectation that I want to build up this catalog of all these photos, which will give me motivation anytime I don't have it. Or, just I'll be able to show it to someone and be like, hey, this is where I was before, this is where I am now. So, Amr, thank you so much for breaking this down in terms of what you've been able to do. And, there's more that we're still working on. This isn't the final version of Amr. There's like much more that we're trying to do. He's going to be the fittest doctor in his area, like no debate about that. But, and to wrap this up, what should someone else who's in a similar situation to where you were, what should they do, and what should their priority be if they want to lose weight or just they want to, in their career as a physician, want to present themselves as a better version of themselves and really convey that picture of health to the patients?
So yeah, I think it's important to kind of both do the diet and the exercise. Like it sounds very obvious, but you'll meet a lot of people saying that like, oh, it's all diet, like don't even work out that much. And then people will say just go to the gym 3 hours a day and it'll fix everything. Like they're both of those things are wrong. And with the diet, like I think the main thing as a doctor is that like we all gone through med school, like the diet advice we get is either like absolutely wrong or just outdated. So, and then people try these like fad diets that have all sorts of problems. Like even keto, like I'm a dermatologist, there's something called the keto rash you can get. So a lot of these things have a good elements, but they're not really like a long-term or sustainable thing. So you really do need a combination of like decent macros. But the other thing I forgot to mention is that I really do not want to count calories. I find that like very time consuming. I don't think it really helps that much because like the calorie counter for certain foods is off and like so I felt like just the big picture approach fit my personality, and I think that's what people should do. Like if you get bogged down in details, like I'm gonna literally micromanage my calories. I just think that you're going to give up because it's just not sustainable.
Yeah, the whole counting calories, I tried that for like 2 weeks. I was like, I can't do this. Like, I'm spending way too much time. And, because we're of a similar ethnic background, we can't count the calories in our dishes. Like, it doesn't work. Like, your wife cooks up something. It's like, it's delicious. How many carbs are in here? No idea. Just eat it.
Yeah, I like how I mean, on Twitter and stuff, we like, or X, we like make fun of the like people that are so nitpicky about it that they're actually just like not fun to be around. It's like people who are like so like detail oriented that they can't even go out to dinner with their friends like once a week and have like a decent food. They're always like so focused. So you need to be able to build in that flexibility. That's what the only thing that makes it sustainable.
Exactly, exactly. That's been my approach, with you and, for anyone who does decide to work with me. Just final question. How has the accountability aspect of this really helped you in your journey?
It's good. I think that's definitely helpful in the fact that uh starting with the progress photos every day and the weight that definitely like I mean obviously psychologically it's not great to see your weight increase like even temporarily, but it's important to kind of see the progress and like the trends over time, because like if you measure like once a month or less, then you're really just not seeing that trend, and it's important to kind of see the day-to-day improvement. And then the other thing is, like I used to calculate the categorize my meals like every single one I ate. So I did that for like a several months, and as I did that, I started to realize like, oh, these are things I'm eating too much of, or maybe I'm not eating enough protein in one day. And then once I kind of got into a good rhythm, I basically just stopped cataloging it because I knew what I was doing. And I think that it's a good way to start. And then again, you don't get bogged down in details. You're not counting calories, but at least you're kind of like keeping track of what you're eating.
Hmm. Exactly. So you broke it down very well in terms of what's work for you, and you found out that there is a sustainable approach to losing weight and getting yourself in shape. Um, so everyone, we're going to wrap it up right there. This is Aamir. You can check him out on all these different platforms he's on. And if you are someone who's in a similar position, you're a physician who works like anywhere 50, 60 hours, and but you still have this dream of losing weight and getting in shape, definitely check me out. I'm more than happy to give you details in terms of how, if you have further question in terms of how Amr did it, or if you want to, just get more information about the program, let me know. But we're going to wrap it up right there. Thank you so much, Amr, for being here. And like I said, this is not the final version. There's so much more that we're going to do. Thank you for watching this video.